Okay, ladies and gentlemen, fantastic. Hey, listen, this is Harry Flynn again. What I want to do is cover a topic that is vastly important to the building of our business here in Four Corners. A topic that I originally tried to cover on our Saturday morning training, but just didn't go very well with all kinds of technical issues. I know many of you are kind of tired of hearing that, but not more so than me. But listen, what I want to do is just take a few minutes. I think I'm going to go through this information pretty quickly. So if you can just grab a pencil and paper, I think it would be behoove you, I should say, to do that. Let's get right into this topic. Very, very important. I remember the first time I was shared this information on the sorting of the population. It changed every facet of my business because I then was able to attract or bring to my business the folks that I was looking for, solely looking for, not just everyone. But that is so very, very key. So let's cover this initial points here. Um, Again, we're going to focus on the population, our audience. That is our audience. Now, we must understand the people that we talk to. And that's the key piece in this discussion here. It reminds me of when I first learned way back over 20 years ago that when I was in, I thought, a telecommunications business, I was really selling long distance to people around the country. And so it was very easy to think that I was in the telecommunications business. But it was this discussion that helped me believe and understand that I was in the people business. I was not in the telecommunications business. Well, likewise here. We're in the people business. We're not in the financial education business. Financial education is our product, but that is not the business we're in. Huge difference. We're in the people business first. So we must understand the people that we talk to. So let's move forward and continue this discussion before I lay out some details. Now remember, let's keep it simple. Should or how do we know our audience? Well, let's go back to the purpose of this discussion. Because if we truly don't want everyone, but only the right ones, then in its nature, that mere statement says we must sort for those that we seek. So, whom do we seek? Well, as a quick review, we talked about this. Many of you have a document illustrating this. The first person we want to talk to is someone that is definitely self motivated. That's the first check. That's a person that's known to be a self starter. This person is known to see things through without a constant need of reminder or urging. Now we know what that means. We know people of that sort, but sometimes we overlook them for one reason or another. But that is person that is prime for what we do. Secondly, does this individual have influence? See, does this person has influence over others? Does he hold a managerial or supervisory position? There are many of them throughout the country. Okay? Do they hold some other type of authoritative position? Perhaps they're an overseer. They are a church leader. Perhaps they coach little league, bowling. Others seek his or her advice. Now we want to make sure that their influence is positive. That's key. Because a lot of people have influence. Adolf Hitler, one of the greatest leaders in this world throughout history. But what kind of influence did he have? It was a negative influence. We don't want that. We want someone that has positive influence on people. Thirdly, is this person known to be a hard worker? That's a work ethic. Perhaps you know them to have held at some point, or maybe even currently, multiple jobs. They're always on the go, very busy. They always seem to be involved in something to make money. This is a person that has very little to no leisure time. They're always busy. Now, that's a great person to talk to about this opportunity. Because one thing we've learned throughout business, history wise, is that the busiest people tend to be the most successful. Busy people know how to make maximum effort out of what little bit of time they can muster. They're great at managing their time because they have so little of it. So work ethic is a key component as a criteria trait for our business. And lastly, does this person or do you know this individual to have had some past success in our industry? There are hundreds, no, there are thousands of opportunities out there, although none is like Four Corners. But did they have some success in a company called Marinda or Tahishinoni, ACN? That was the first company I had major success with. But it took me 13 years to find that company. But that company allowed me to make my first million. That company's still running strong today. They've done a wonderful job of reinventing themselves. Maybe you know some people that's had some success in organo gold. Notice the key point here is past success, not just involved. Maybe they were in this company, but did they have success? You know, did they build a huge team? Do you know that they took trips that they earned from their production? Maybe they've talked about or shown on Facebook that they've earned cars or watches or, as I mentioned, major trips abroad based on their production. That says, hey, they've had some past success in our industry. That is very key. There's a lot of companies out there. Maybe some of these people are currently in an MLM company and they are currently a leader. Don't be afraid to approach them. It's either yes or no, in or out. Remember, nothing exists like Four Corners. It is the most unique opportunity in our industry right now. It ain't gonna stay that way because success leaves clues. Always remember that. So now, quickly, from the standpoint of the four checkers, just as a quick review, self motivated. Do they have influence? Do they have a work ethic? And do they have a past level of success in a similar industry? Now, here's the key thing here. Those are certainly the right ones. But how many of you can also see at the same time they're certainly not everyone? They're the right ones, but they're certainly not everyone. So, let's break it down like a fraction. Let's get into it. Here's some numbers for you. These numbers hold true. Once I understood these numbers, I was pulled into a room out of about maybe 80 to 90 people at the time, early in the spring of 1994. I was selected as one of the 15 people that might take this thing seriously if he had the right information. Well, you guys are getting it right now. When I understood why I was struggling initially in my business, I wasn't getting the right people. Oh, I was getting the wrong people. Everything changed in my organization. And I went straight to the top of that company and created leaders within that company throughout the entire some 20 different countries. So, again, let's get into some real serious details here. Your challenge right now is to write this down. Take some notes because these numbers hold true. I'm not pulling these just out of thin air. These numbers are historically factual. Great things to jot down. 20% of the people that you talk to out there are just very negative. Everything they say, glass is always half empty, never half full. They don't believe in themselves nor anyone else. Guess what? Bad news. You cannot change them. So stop or don't try. In fact, know this about these individuals. It is a danger to spend too much time in their presence because too much talk with them can leave you tired or depressed, maybe even doubtful about your own opportunity. Perhaps you become fearful. They are very contagious. Think about it. I think all of us can honestly say that we know an individual, maybe a few, that seems like every time we talk to them, we see them, we spend time with them, go to lunch with them, just conversate with them. we wind up afterwards wanting to just take a nap. Just go to sleep. Just relax. They have drained us of our energy. Their conversations, their attitudes about everything, their complaining about everything. They're never positive. Energy is real, ladies and gentlemen, and it just can be pulled from us because we expose ourselves around it too much. Here's the key point here. They have a victim mentality. In fact, I'll tell you something. They own it. They own it. You want to avoid them at all costs once you identify them as such. Now, let's not talk about them anymore for this discussion. Just know that 20% of everyone you talk to, that's almost 1/4 of everybody you speak to, they're just negative. It ain't you, it's them. Don't think that you're saying something wrong. They just cannot see anything for themselves. It's not you, it's them. It's okay. Identify them, avoid them at all costs. You're on a mission. Now, next group, 67% of the population. Wow, that's a big number. That's a big number. Now, some of you might be getting nervous right about now because you're doing the math in your head. Wow, 67%, 20%, that's 87% of the people. No wonder I'm not doing this thing, getting this thing going. Not necessarily. Let's talk about this 67%. That was the group that I was in. I spent most of my life in this group. Let's talk about them in detail. 67% of the population look, walk, and they talk like they want to be successful. Boy, that was me. Folks, that's our largest audience. That's 3/4 of everyone, almost 7 out of every 10. They will always be the ones maybe to start a money making idea at work. They'll run the lottery pool. They'll start many things without seeing them through. For one reason or another. And they can have a very large following. Something else about this key group of people. They'll get into a lot of things. They'll get into your business. A lot of them in our business right now. They always sound as though he or she are doing it big. They know how to talk a good game. Remember, they look, they walk, and they talk like they want to be successful. But that's not a bad group of people. Give them an opportunity. They'll see some things and go for it. They'll even be very supportive of you. They can be very encouraging. If they don't see it for themselves, many times they'll even refer people to you that may want to do your business. They tend to be positive sometimes. Not a bad group of people. Remember, 67%. Many times they will have a lack of self-esteem or some other self-defeating character trait that is kept well hidden from others, which is the primary reason that they've never gone all the way. I was in that group. Think about that. A great most of our group will consist of these 67 percenters. But in the right environment, they can grow and succeed. There has been many industry leaders to come from this group. Many of us have come from this 67% group. But see, it's always about having the right environment. I want to say to you guys right now, put your hands together because you're in the right environment. You know, I was on the training, the corporate training, just this past Thursday night, last Thursday night. And it blew me away. People were on there from all over the world. Too many of our team, though, were not on it. Probably because we were not knowing of it. Why did I know about it and you didn't? It was in my email just like it was in your email. I registered and I got on it just like you could have done. So many of us are thinking, see, we want this. We talk a good game. But are we really, really committed to our business? Are we really? Or are we still just looking, walking, and talking like we want to do this thing? But yet we had no clue about that Thursday night corporate training. It was an incredible training. David Harrison, our president, was on the training. He talked, answered lots of questions. What blew me away again is the numbers of people from all over the world, not just the U.S., not just North America, all over the world that were on that call. Some of the questions that they were asked were amazing to me. Very basic type questions because people were begging for leadership. Hey, I want to see this, I want to do this, but my sponsor is not doing anything. My sponsor is not plugged in. What do I do? How do I find out what the newsletter residuals are? Okay, how do I plug people into a presentation? Folks, you guys have that right here on your team. We have a recorded presentation that's available to you 24/7. Are you utilizing it? Or are you just looking and walking and talking like you want to be somebody? In the right environment, you too can grow and succeed if you take it seriously. Remember, there's been a great many of industry leaders to come from this one segment of the population, 67 percenters. Let's move forward. 10% just need an opportunity and some mentorship. A very desirable group of people. See, they've seen, or maybe they are successful. They believe in themselves and they know that they can win. They're sharp. They're always positive. They are hungry. Hungry is not somebody that just talks a good game, that walks around trying to impress you with their vocabulary, the things that they want to do, or no, 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 no. That's not hungry. I want to give you something that was given to me a long time ago by a cross-line leader in a business that I was involved in many years ago. He said, let me tell you who's hungry. A hungry person is someone that has had great success in their life. They've been to the mountaintop, as it were, and something happened in their life. Maybe a death, something tragic. Something happened, unforeseen, and they lost what they had. They had a taste of it, and they lost it. They remember what it was like to be at the mountaintop. A person like that, showing an opportunity, is hungry because they see an opportunity to get it back. What they once had, they can now get it back. That's a hungry person. 10%, just 10% of the people are very positive. They know they can win. They just need the right opportunity and some mentorship. That's all they need. They need to be in the right environment with the system for success. They can have the trust and admiration of a great many people because they're in a small segment of the population. Most times, you got to be on your A game to attract them. And if you don't have your stuff together, if you're not reading, if you're not growing, if you're not increasing your self worth, if you're not becoming more positive, you cannot attract these people. See, they're prime target. Like I said, not everybody can recruit them, but reading and your own personal growth can allow you to reach them. That's why we say in this industry, leaders read. You must grow. You must take self improvement more seriously. That's your own personal responsibility. We talked about that last week when we talked about leadership. And 3% are very, very ultra successful. They're rare. They're most unique. They're always at the top of their game, leaders of and respected by a great many people. These folks, you just show them an opportunity, perhaps maybe even through a third party. Get a major, major leader, a top performer to have some conversation with them. Because maybe you're not yet at that place mentally. Maybe your growth haven't got you to a point where you can just sit down and talk with them. Because these people many times can be very, very intimidating. These people look like they don't need an opportunity. But they do. Because maybe their success is based on what they have to keep repetitively doing. We have an opportunity that can build wealth where money will work for you as opposed to you working for the money. But once you get them and they see the opportunity, get out of their way and allow them to lead because they can create whatever they need if necessary. Here, we got a system that's already in place. Our business model itself is highly automated. So now, we have our own questions to ask. But, ladies and gentlemen, in closing, we got to make sure these questions we ask are business related and not personal. We have one of our income streams, a Starian. We haven't talked a lot about Starian. A lot of discussion about that is coming. But I wanted to take some time over the last month and maybe the next few weeks to make sure we get our heads together about what we have. In looking at our organization over the last number of months, we've got some growth to go through. We've got to stop not knowing about corporate conference calls. We got to get better at getting our emails. We got to get better at being serious. We got to stop talking and start walking. So that's why over the last month and for the next maybe few weeks, we're talking about business, what we have our hands on. I want to get your head right, your mind right. So when you look at our Starian income stream, which can generate an additional $54,000 per month, upwards of, okay, that's an automated global marketing system. Okay, so some considerations when we talk about who are we looking to market to. Do we want someone that's computer literate? You answer that question. What do you think? Versus someone that will tell you, well, I don't really, my computer's down. I don't have internet. I don't get on the computer that much. I can't stand the internet. And then we move forward to recruit that person. Now it's not the person, not the problem. You are the problem. You see? So do we want a person to be computer literate? Do we want them to have a record of success? Well, we already talked about that. Do you think it might make sense that they have some type of understanding of finances, the importance of finances? Not that they are a financial planner, but do they have an importance of planning for the future? Are they a family person, maybe middle age, where, you know, baby boomers? I don't know. You decide. Versus someone in their early 20s that's not thinking about long term financial planning. They're thinking about just enjoying life and having a good time. Do you think it might make better sense to market to people that are family people, have a family that they're concerned about, have college responsibilities they've got to meet for their kids, got a home they're trying to pay off or get out from under? Do you think it would make sense to consider talking to someone that's a documented leader? You decide. Might it assist your business if they were bilingual? Just some considerations to get you to think properly about your business. Okay, so great. Now we understand who it is that we seek, the three and the four checkers, and we understand now the breakdown of the population. So next time, Saturday, this coming Saturday, we're going to talk about how do we recruit them. Now that we know how to identify them and we understand how to work within the population, how do we recruit those that we seek? Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be our discussion, our training next week. So, build your team this week. Promote for next week's training. We're not doing a good job of that. We have to get more of our team on the training and get out of this 67% portion where we're just looking and like we want to be somebody, or we're talking a good game, and then we come to next week's training like we've done so much this week, like we're really involved, but we come with just one person on our team, while there's not one person on our team on the training. Then what did you do all week long? You're looking and you're talking a good game, but you're not doing it. Promote for next week's training. Be a leader. Increase your team for next week's training. With that being said, I want to thank you guys for listening. I trust and hope that this has made perfect sense to you in terms of sorting the population and understanding who it is that we seek within our business. Remember, every organization recruits people. That's going to be our next discussion this coming Saturday. With that being said, thank you guys for listening. This has been Marianne's baby boy, Harry Flynn, saying it's been a plum pleasing pleasure and an outright privilege. Good day, all.